I can't wait to get my hair done because it's just all up. There we go. So welcome and happy new year, everybody. I am so excited for this new year, more than any that I can remember in many, many years. So yesterday was my 13th anniversary with Touchstone Crystal. It's amazing to me how fast 13 years has flown by. Every single day has been a joy to be with this company. The story goes, Touchstone Crystal was a do-it-yourself beading company for a couple of years. And it wasn't going all that great. So essentially what would happen was the consultant would pre-order the jewelry kits for the customers and bring them to the hostess's house and teach the customers how to make their jewelry, maybe under really bad lighting around the dining room table or red wine and margaritas. And you can only imagine the quality control issues that they had after all of that. Well, people really didn't want to do that a second time. So that was kind of a novelty. And they maybe had 200 consultants or so. So when I came on board, I was the first rep in when they switched over to what they called finished goods. And so you'll notice when you see 4 digits, 4 numbers, and then EF, or 4 numbers and NF, it's because EF was earring finished, and necklace was necklace, NF was necklace finished. That's what that meant, as opposed to unfinished, like a kit. So that's how that all came about, because when I came on board, if my customer would order something and at the home office, somebody would sit there and put it together. And sometimes it wouldn't even come to me to give to my customer, which is what I had to do, in a box. It would be in a little pouch. So like the original pouch that all the little beads had been in. So we didn't even have boxes half the time. We've come a really, really, really long way. Sometime I'll show you all some of the original catalogs and things, but we've come a very long way. And it has been an incredible blessing. Now, the company would say that we are actually 11 years old as of the other day. And that would be true. But so I was sort of a part of a pre-launch phase. And so people always ask me, well, who is still here besides you from then? Well, interestingly, at the home office, there's exactly one person, and that is Nikki Polachik. She was with the original version of the company. In fact, she has a way better story than I have about how the company really started, because she was there from the very grassroots portion of it as a young professional. And also Dina Breslin came on board in March of 2009. And what's really fun is that there is one consultant on our team who actually predates all of us, and her name is Terry Upham. Terry lives in Livermore, California now, and she was a part of the beading people. All of the beaders were put on my team. And 3 of them stayed. The rest of them were like, we're at peace out. 3 of them stayed. I'm still friends with the other 2. One of them kind of comes and goes into the company back and forth, but Terry Upham actually predates me by a year and still sells jewelry today. So congratulations to Terry Upham. If you ever see this, I love you. And you've been a great friend she's been with us now for 14 years. So she predates me. So anyway, that's just a kind of a fun, that not everybody knows sort of some of the history of the company. But the pre-launch phase pretty much lasted 2 years. And by the time Liz DiPaolo and Kay Higby came on board in 2010, we all agreed that we needed a relaunch of the company. And that was January of 2011. And so that's why we are really officially 11 years old. So if your customers ask you, and I just heard Liz Baer say, we are a ground floor opportunity. I've not heard anybody say that in quite a while, but honestly, I believe that's true. Because if you haven't run into another Touchstone Crystal rep in the last couple of months, it's still a ground floor opportunity wherever you live. And I honestly believe that that is very true. We can still legitimately say that about our company, because what's a ground floor opportunity? It's one where you don't know anybody else who's selling it, right? That's what this still is for the most part. So I want you to keep that in mind as you go into 2022 and make your plans. Okay, so the first thing I want to share with you is our sales figures for the month of December. And I'm sorry, I'm going to apologize. My vision has become odd. And so I actually have 2 screens here so that I can try to see a little bit better what our sales figures were and things like that, because I'm just having trouble with my eyes. So, and I did have it all pulled up right before we got on. So I apologize. Give me a quick second and I'm going to find our sales because I was very excited about, well, I'll do it at the very end, and that's what I'm going to have to do because it's a little hard for me to see. So I don't want to keep fumbling around and making you all wait because you're so patient and sweet. But it's exciting because we have some shifting around this month in December of who was in the top and things like that. And so some people who normally do not get top 5 recognition are getting it for the month of December. So I always love when that happens. So I will do that as soon as we're done. Okay. So I wanted to ask you all, what do you think of the new jewelry line?
Oh, I love it.
Favorites?
I like the bracelets,
The
Yeah,
bracelet.
the cuff, like the Riviera. Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
The rings.
Yes.
Gold rings, finally. We have some more
Yes.
gold rings.
Yes. And they look tiny, don't they? They look like really
Yeah.
delicate.
Do we know what size they're starting at, Betsy?
I don't. That's a really good question, Wendy.
I hope at least 5.
You know, it's funny. Do we have 5s in Little Black Dress
No,
at all?
no.
Nope.
I
Only
think the
the birthstone.
birthstone.
Yeah, in the birthstone.
Birthstones? Okay.
That's the only one.
All right. I'll find out. Ring sizes. I'll ask. I'll find out and I'll post it on the team page. That's such a good question. Yes, because they're so delicate and beautiful. Wouldn't that be pretty on a size 5 finger?
Yeah.
You're absolutely right. Beautiful. Anything
Do
else?
we know if any of the ice bracelets are in small?
None of the new ones are in small that I'm aware of. No one has said anything about that.
Mm-mm,
And the codes have not popped up as 2 options.
mm-mm.
So that's a great question too. Yeah.
Has it been brought up, Betsy, when you're on with the senior executives? Does it, like even other colors for smalls, there's not even a gold small,
Right.
No,
the ice bracelets. And if that's our #1 seller, I would think that there would be more smalls.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super curious. That's a wonderful question too. I'm super curious about small gold ice. I am super curious about, it's an issue of SKUs and how many SKUs they're willing to hold at one time. And I noticed that at one point we sort of dropped way down in the number of colors of ice bracelets, but yet we have a lot of pieces of jewelry that are remaining and are retired and are still SKUs sitting in our warehouse. And it used to be that we would hand all of our retired jewelry over to the outlets, the Swarovski outlets. And that was the way that we could consistently be guaranteed a sale of all of our retired jewelry, was by giving it to the outlets and then they would sell it off for us. We have totally shifted the way we do that. And now we use them as customer items, customer sale items, and we also use them as business builders. And so that means we're retaining a whole lot more SKUs than we ever did before. And so I'm kind of curious, just from a business standpoint, my little can you see my beanie spinning?
Right.
I'm like, I love this stuff. I should have been in logistics or something. But that's the stuff that makes me wonder, how is that impacting how many SKUs we can have? I know that part of the issue is just with COVID, it's hard. Barbara Carter can't fly over to Hong Kong and fly to China twice a year to talk to our suppliers and talk to them about new pieces that they're trying to make and get samples. And so it's just an interview new manufacturers who do specialty things for Swarovski. So it's just a little different right now, I think. And I don't know, how that affects the number of SKUs for ice bracelets that they're willing to have on hand at one time. But you bring up a great point about the gold would be really, all that. I just went around an entire circle just to say that again. Right. But we have a small enough group we can do that. So any other things about the new pieces, things that you saw in the previous month? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, well, I like the earrings, the ones that Nikki demonstrated tonight. I just think those are so cool.
I know.
I like funky things. So yeah,
do.
I'm not really sure
Yeah, I'm
thought they're
curious
gonna-
of how that works because it looks
Yeah.
like you just clamp it to itself, like the Lena earrings.
Yes,
Right.
right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What
Mhm.
keeps it from not falling?
Maybe it's connected, or maybe it's just the way it's, I don't know,
Yeah.
like that.
It looked like it had the little hook here,
Yeah.
then the stick, and then the rest of it was the design, I think.
Just the design, kind of like
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
but not touching.
It looks like they're attached here. Like
Are
it
they attached?
really is. That's what it looks like in the picture.
Okay,
And when
okay,
Nikki was wearing it, it looked like it wasn't like just free hanging. So
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Right, so it won't like wishbone or something. Okay,
Right,
that's a good
right.
point.
Yeah, because I
Right.
was just thinking immediately, like, how many customers are going to be like, I lost one piece of the two.
No.
No, that's all we need. Yeah, that would be great.
No.
So I wanted to ask you a couple questions. I want to talk a little bit. First, I want to talk about the crux of our business and this concept of marketing versus the 4 key things that we actually do. And so we're going to talk about that for a moment. Then secondly, I want to talk about the disadvantages to parties in January and the advantages to parties in January. So be prepared. And we used to do this every single month, and it was such a great exercise. And so I want to make sure we do that tonight before we finish. And then, I'm sorry, like I said, my eyes, apologize. And then I'm going to go over what our call schedule is going to be from here on out, because new year, we have new initiatives and things that we're doing for the Star Thrower team to give you opportunities to be together and to share your ideas, to share what's working, or to say, I'm fresh out of ideas, I need somebody else's this morning, to give you the ammunition that you need to build your business. And then I'm going to have you think for a few minutes about what you would like to accomplish during Q1 for 2022. And after you do that, I will do a drawing for 2 copies of this book called Atomic Habits. I don't know if any of you have seen this yet. I've ordered 3 copies so far, 1 for me and 2 for 2 of you to send off. And my hope is that over time, I'll be sending out a whole lot more of these books. My favorite new quote comes from this author, and I'm going to read it to you before we dive in to talking about, I've sent it to I sent it to Kay, I sent it to other people. His name is James Clear. He wrote Atomic Habits, and he said, you do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, meaning habits. And I thought, oh boy, isn't that the truth? Because without good habits or systems, we're not going to hit our own goals. Our default systems and habits are going to get in the way of us getting to our goals, because otherwise we probably would have achieved the goals already, right? So something's going to have to shift in the way we are doing things in order to hit fresh and exciting goals. So I am thrilled. There are a bunch of us reading this, and so I'm really excited to see who wants to read it along with me. But 2 of you tonight will be winning one of these books, and I can't wait to see who it's going to be. So that's a great thing. So let's talk a little bit about the crux of our business, and I just want to be a little bit philosophical for like 3 minutes here, because this is the stuff that some of us have been behind the scenes for the last several weeks have been talking about. And it kind of goes back to this whole Facebook springboard and if this is working for you, I'm not telling you not to do this. I'm simply sharing what I'm hearing from the field and from other leaders, is that the post that was working so well because for 2 reasons, algorithms were different. And number 2, women were home looking for something fun to do. It was all working. But we call that marketing. I mean, in essence, that's, for lack of a better word, that's marketing, right? But there's a difference between marketing and inviting to a party. There's a difference between marketing and host coaching. There's a difference between marketing and booking parties. And there's a difference between marketing and sponsoring. And yet we've allowed marketing to take over as what we think is communicating. I'm communicating constantly. I'm constantly communicating with people. I'm always posting, but that's marketing. Now, is marketing a good thing? Sure. What does it do? It whets the appetite. It puts out there what somebody might really want. I mean, we're all consumers of what we see visually, right?
Mhm.
How else do we get the idea that we want, the new boots from UGG or whatever, I mean, I just got a thing from Lily Pulitzer. Every time I see Lily Pulitzer, I think of Wendy. Every time I see Wendy, she's like wearing it. So I'm thinking, I want more of that. So, and how would I know that unless they had marketed to me? But that's not the same thing as them calling me and saying, do you want to book a party and get more Lily? Or do you want to come join my team and sell Lily? Or do you want to buy some Lily from me as a Lily I wish they had a company. Maybe they should start a company, direct selling. Wouldn't that be fun? Wendy, you and I can just go do that with them. But that's where we get, I'm going to speak personally. I got lazy. It was easy. All I had to do was create the perfect set of posts. And I felt, I did it. And they're going to love me. Meanwhile, what I did was I whetted their appetite, but there was no closing the sale. There was no asking for the business. There was no offering the party to the individual. And here's the difference. This business is a person-to-person business. It is a relationship business. Now, I don't mean like you got to be best friends with everybody you're doing business with, but it's still a person-to-person, voice-to-voice relationship. Now, do I have people that I work with that are all mostly by text? Hosts, customers, sure. But we feel like we understand each other, so it works fine. Do we talk on the phone sometimes? Yeah. Or do a quick FaceTime? Yes, we do. But it's still me to her, not me to all of them, because that's marketing. Me to her is where I can offer a party, really sell jewelry, and help her buy more. We call that upselling. It's hard. It's a little easier to upsell when you're actually talking to a person. Me to another person, inviting her to join, take a look at the business. And so over the last 2 years, we have sunk to the default because that was working. And now we have the opportunity to go back to old school and to simplify and to focus on simple success, which is always about people. So that's the stuff that you're going to be hearing us talking about. And I'm not poo-pooing all the beautiful pictures and things because it sets the groundwork so that when I'm posting on my VIP page and I post those gorgeous pictures, they're all going to go, oh, I want that. But man, if I see them clicking like or saying, I wish I had that or anything, I'm going to be on them sending a message of some kind saying, trying to figure out what can I do next to that individual person. And that's where it's going to come from. So any thoughts about that? Has anybody felt the same way that I have felt about this? Wendy, you're nodding.
I do. In the beginning, and I'll use this as an example, I'm going to be out of commission for 2 months and I won't be able to do in-home parties. So I'm thinking the only way I'm going to keep my numbers up is to do the Zoom parties or the Facebook parties. So for me, it's a good time to reach out to those girls that are out of state that I wouldn't be able to do an in-home party with anyway.
Nice.
Otherwise,
I love that.
I've tried twice to cancel my Zoom account because it's a waste of money for me because I can't get people on it anymore. They won't let you cancel. You can't get a person, but that's a whole nother story. So maybe it'll come in handy the next 2 months and I'll say, okay, it was worth it. But I do think that, and you've said this before, the difference between, I like what you said about me to her is personal. Me to them, whether it's them on my VIP page or them on my personal page, or them in our email. It's not personal until we either pick up the phone or text or whatever works with those particular people.
Yeah.
So And it's a good time to do it,
Personal.
just figuring out when and where you're doing it.
Yeah, yes, right. And when you live in a small house, it's tricky, and having that space and all.
Well, even time-wise, but I mean, like for time-wise, the pockets where you fit that in.
You know, I think, and interestingly, when we talk on Wednesday and on Saturday, and we will record the coffee chats too, I believe, because we're going to be covering some really cool stuff. We're going to be talking about the similarities between the host coaching for the live parties in person and the host coaching for the Zoom parties, because both require a guest list and a gathering. There's a guest list that we're going to be using with that hostess to invite to her in-person party or her Zoom. And it's for a particular time at a particular location, either her house or on Zoom. And so the verbiage is going to be very similar. The level of personal invitation is going to be very similar, so that her guests are as fully invited to that Zoom party as they would have been to come to her house. Right. And that's going to change everything, because we're not marketing to her friends to come, and neither is she, because we're not going to rely on Facebook necessarily. We're going to rely on personal invitations, right? Going back to old school in this case. Okay. So hopefully you'll be able to find a way to have much better results with Zoom parties. Okay. That's the goal. It's simply a tool to get women together. It's not a negative. I mean, it's not as great as, all of us being together in the same place ever, but it can be treated the same way as far as inviting. So has anybody else experienced the same difficulties or struggles, or have other ideas about the marketing versus fill in the blank? Amelia, you're trying to unmute.
Yeah, my phone's not working with me today. No, I definitely think the marketing piece has taken over. You're right. It's our default. It's what we've been kind of relying on because of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And it's easy, right? You said it, you're best. It's post and done.
Yeah.
But you're right. We're not getting that engagement. It's not there anymore. People are out and about. So
Yeah.
got to go back. Right.
The thing I'm curious about is for those people who have come on board since the pandemic started and only wanted an online business. I'm curious, it's going to be very interesting to see if it's still fun and exciting and worth it. So that's, or if there's a pivot. Some people will never want to go out and do a live party, but it's going to be fun to see, who wants them to just shift to doing Zoom parties. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, over the next 6 months. Anybody else on that note, with lots more to come on the topic?
I think that, to your point, the personal aspect needs to be present, whether you're doing Facebook, granted on Facebook it's more, but going back, if people are liking things, and then establishing that connection and really sticking with it. One of my newest consultants was someone who I met on a Facebook vendor group who I've never met, who lives in Delaware.
I love that.
So it's one of those, it's the consistency of the relationships and sticking with it is where I've found that I've had the most luck. And when I started, I had only done maybe 5 in-home parties before the shutdown.
Right.
So I'm still trying to figure out what's working, because I didn't get my feet wet enough in the in-home.
Right.
And then with the Facebook, it's still trying to figure that part out. So
Exactly. I get
still
it.
trying to figure where is the best. But out of my 2 top parties, the best one was in-home, second best was a Zoom. So it depends on the hostess too.
Nice. Right. Right. And so on Wednesday, for our coffee chat at 10, we will be talking about that first conversation with the hostess and how do we create a level set so that we're leading her into the most successful party possible. And hopefully by phone, hopefully with a quick phone call so that we can have a meeting of the minds and make it a simple process for her. Okay, well, let's move on a little bit. And my next topic is something that we used to do every month. And I want to go back to doing this because I think it's really great. And it's, when I was a Young Life youth ministry leader, we called it Nopes and Dopes. On Monday nights, we get together, like, what was your nope? What was your dope? And so like, what was your best thing? And what was your worst thing? And in this case, it's what are the disadvantages and what are the advantages? So I want to talk about every month has its disadvantages for booking parties. Like a hostess would see this as a disadvantage to do it this month. And then we'll talk about what are the advantages to doing a January party. So let's get it out of the way. Let's talk about all the negatives. What are the negatives about booking parties for us or for the hostess, either real or perceived, for booking January parties?
The negatives?
Yeah.
It's
Their
right
friends
out
are
of it.
partied out.
Oh,
What's that? See, I couldn't hear you.
Trisha.
I said that their friends are partied out from like
Mhm.
all these different Facebook parties.
Okay.
People are broke from Christmas.
Broke from Christmas.
We're
Hear it
like
every
a month away from the new catalog, so
Mhm.
Mhm.
weighing our options.
Is that ours or theirs?
There's, I guess either way.
Uh-huh. I know.
for us,
See, it's funny because I've been thinking about that one a lot. It's so funny you bring that up because I was thinking about that one a lot today
I'd say
as I was
both.
talking to people about booking a party with them, like on January 28th. I'm like, because I don't want it to go into February. I want it for January, right? So, yeah. So it is a disadvantage, right?
Mhm.
I agree. For me, it feels like it.
I would wait because I'm more curious about the new stuff coming out. I want to be the first one to wear, just that whole thing. So
Yeah. I get it.
It depends, unless you have someone who really loves ice bracelets, and that's like their one thing that they just have to
Too.
have.
Right. Yeah. So we'll cover that in the advantages. That's exactly, you're already thinking positive. I love that. What else? What other disadvantages are there about booking a party this month? Friends are broke.
I think from my perspective, my thing is a space issue. I don't need one more thing. I think a lot of people are trying to figure out what to do with all the Christmas stuff, what to do. They don't need one more thing.
Uh-huh.
So,
Right. Okay. They have all kinds of stuff.
yeah.
They got stuff. Okay. Anything else? Any other negatives?
Are they tired of entertaining?
Tired of entertaining?
I guess that would be with the partied out.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. Tired of cleaning the house, tired of decorating, tired of all that. Okay. Anything else?
Tired of being on a computer.
Ooh, yeah. Right. Okay. All right. How about,
Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, in some places, depending if you can't have the in-home weather,
Uh-huh.
because you might have like snowstorms and stuff, and they may not want to do it in person or whatnot.
It's really true. Yeah.
And if they're
so-
home, then they may have their kids home too, so they may not have
Right.
the attention span to do it.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. We used to, it's funny you mentioned that. I'll give you a little story. Old school was that we would kick off the new catalog, right before Christmas and sell out of it, it's kind of like January 1st sort of thing. And so we would always book like a ton of parties in December for January because people wanted the new catalog and it would be double host dollars, blah, blah, blah. But we started a process where we made sure that we always left a couple of days open at the end of the month for reschedules because of snowstorms. Exactly that. So we would book our 4, 6, 8 parties prior to like January 27th or so, and make sure we had a couple of dates left in case we needed to reschedule. You know, we always had a snow day available in there or two. So exactly your point. It's funny you talk about that. Okay, let's talk about reasons to book. Why would somebody want to book a party in January? Let's flip the table, turn the table.
If they host a party and then someone books from their party, they could get 70% off something on the new catalog.
Oh, nice. Okay. And do you think maybe their bookings would be higher because the new catalog is coming out?
Maybe.
Could be. Okay. That's a possibility. I love that.
Ice bracelet fan.
Yeah.
That $19 plus an extra 200. What was this? What was the number that Terry said? $617
Or 76, I think.
or 76.
76. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
How about those people that didn't get what they wanted for Christmas?
Yes. Right. I love that. Right. Which is
A pamper you party.
oh,
Mhm.
yeah. It's all about you, Miss Hostess. Right. Who else?
January birthdays.
Yes. Okay. How do we find January birthdays?
That's the one thing Facebook is good for.
Paper. You got it.
Right. I know. So what are you gonna what can you say to a January birthday girl?
New year, new bling.
Okay.
Just if they want to revamp, you know, their look or their jewelry box or whatever,
Yeah.
that
Right.
they can do
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
for less.
Yeah.
Fashion, it's just a fashion update.
Fashion update. That's cute. I like
Mhm.
that. Right. A fashion update. What about the fact that her birthday is like right after Christmas and it
Mhm.
feels kind of lame? Like nobody wants to give me a gift. They all just gave all the gifts in the world and they have no money now.
So now they can give themselves gifts and still give her a gift.
Right.
Purple for the slighted.
Oh
And
my
it's not her
God.
fault she was born in January, for heaven's sakes.
Right. Right.
Right.
I always tell my birthday girls to host a party, and that way you can get everything on your wish list for free and then some, because I like to share their wish list with their friends and get them to purchase a gift of jewelry for them instead of something else.
That's such a great idea. I love
I did a
that.
couple sparkle showers where we picked one person to kind of just, you could either buy a gift for her or you could buy something and the hostess rewards, but we called it a sparkle shower. And
That is so
they
cute.
did great. They did great.
That's really cute. I love that. And all of these can be live or live in person or on Zoom. So one note, last year I did a birthday bling bash on Zoom, and it was very cute because all these people that she hadn't seen in a long time from all around the country had got on for her birthday bling bash. We tried to sing happy birthday and you just can't do it. You can't do it because it interrupts. Like
It's picking up everybody's voices.
right. I was like, oh, it's not even the chorus. It would have been beautiful. All these great voices. Like,
That's funny.
I know, right? Fascinating. So just FYI, don't try the singing thing because it's not going to work. What else? What other reason would somebody want to do a January party?
It's girl time.
Girl
'Cause nobody's
time.
had-
Oh, there's my dad. He's saying good night. You want to say good night? Say good night to the ladies.
Good night.
Tonight to, who are we saying goodnight to?
All my friends.
Oh, hi, friends. How you all doing? Keep her busy. Take care.
Good night. Sleep tight. So what about the fact that, in January, people tend to get just kind of depressed, like, oh, it's all over, I'm sad and all the decorations are gone. Everything's kind of blah. What about it's just fun, right? Something fun to plan, right? Trying to bring a little fun, inject a little fun into January.
I remember as a mom, like, my daughter was in cheerleading and that was the start of competition season, but like in the spring at the end of the year, it gets so busy. We're like, January is kind of, it's after the holidays, but things haven't picked up yet with school.
Right.
So it is maybe a good time to market to those moms.
That's a
It might not be
great
so
point.
busy right now with like the new sports seasons haven't started yet
Right.
into full swing games. They're probably practicing, but
That's
it's
true.
not games and
Fundraisers. That's a good time for a
Fundraisers.
fundraiser, especially if they're getting ready to go to nationals.
right.
Ooh, right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, fundraisers for
How many
that's
cheer
fun.
coaches?
Well, I wasn't a
Mhm.
coach, but my daughter, I was the parent.
Mhm.
All those things.
Right, right. So you can see all of the reasons. And so that here's the key: when you're offering a party, it's really helpful to find a way to mention the number one reason that somebody would not want to do a party. Like, I know most people think that their friends don't have any money, but, or I know most people think that by January, everybody's partied out, but January is a great month to do a party because da, da, da. And so you can take away their argument, take away their number one argument by saying it out loud, by texting it at the get-go. So something to think about. There are ways of addressing what you think is going to be the number one deficit for that person, or the number one negative reason she wouldn't want to do a party, and substitute the number one reason why she would want to do a party. And so be thinking about that strategically as you're offering parties for the month of January, because now you know what the reasons would be not to, but you've got a whole lot more reasons of why they would actually really enjoy that. The key is getting them off of the why not and putting them onto the why they would. Because, we have to remember that that no is a default answer. It's not the same thing as a decision. A quick no is a default. It's not a decision. And that's why after a party, when you get a bunch of no's, I don't want to do a party kind of thing, those no's are mostly a default. They're not actually decisions. But by the next morning, you could go back to those same people and they will have made a decision of a yes or a no. But you might miss the yes if you don't go back to them the day within 24 hours after the party is over and offer the party again. Does that make sense? It's the same thing though with offering a party out of the blue. The instinct is no, but if we offer them a little bit of information, then it could become a yes, an actual decision and not just a default. Does that make sense? So don't be afraid of hearing no and be super brief. Know that you can get a yes by saying a little bit more that's pertinent to them. So super important. So the last thing I want to do is have you post your goals, and then while you're doing that, I'm going to go backwards and find the recognition to show the sponsoring, top 5 in sponsoring, and I'm also going to do little slips of paper. Actually, I'm going to do 1 through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 through 9. 2 of you are going to be winning this book, Atomic Habits, and I'll be sending out to you after they arrive in my mailbox tomorrow. It'll be so fun. So, okay. So go ahead and post in chat what you would like your personal party goal to be, or sales goal or income goal for first quarter. That's what I'm most interested in, is first quarter. So post them on in the chat, and I am going to go find our recognition real quickly while I'm doing that, while you're doing all that. And I'm going to grab my random number generator while we're doing that.
Is 2. So the goal is to have 2 sponsors.
Okay. All right, let's see. 8 parties. Oh, Heather, so that's great. 8 parties. 8 parties for during the first 3 months total. Yes. So like
Yeah.
2, 3, and 2 kind of thing, or somewhere in there.
Yeah, at least get like at least 2 a month. Yeah.
That's perfect. Okay. Oh, I love it. That's great. I mean, imagine if you can get to where their hostess coached really well and you wind up with great attendance, because that's basically what host coaching does for us, is it gives us great attendance and more bookings. So I love that. It's a great goal. Rena said 5,000 for Q1. Great goal. I love it. And enough sales to earn incentives each month. I love that. Okay. $5,500. Okay. For the quarter. Yep. Totally doable. Kathy, my personal goal is to have 1 or 2 sponsor for the first quarter. Trust me, you'll be really glad you did that. Wendy Moker, first quarter goals, 9 parties, 3,000 per month, and a new consultant and 1 Glam ambassador. Great. Amelia, 2 to 3K. Amelia, is that 2 to 3K per month or for the 3 months total?
For the quarter, for me, that'd be huge.
Yeah.
Because just with the new job, I'm going into my busiest time of the year with special ed.
I love
So
how you do it. Yeah, girl. Raina, get back to group leader and build new leaders. Great. That's why you're going to be a part of the special group that we're going to be putting together. Oh, and Kathy Ullman, 3,000 a month with 5 to 6 parties a month. And that really works well for you. I think that pace really works well for you. That pace works pretty well for me too. Amelia, try and sponsor a new consultant. That's a great idea. Patricia, figure out my system and be consistent. So the parties are always on the books, meeting more and constantly sponsoring. And Rena Medina, 2 new consultants. Yeah. Ooh, I love you. We're thinking about all these things. This is really fun. I love it. I love it. Okay, who have we got here? Let's see. Debbie Pickens just came on. Don't anybody move. They put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. So now I'm going to give away 2 copies with my random number generator of Atomic Habits. And I'm excited to see which 2 of you are going to be winning. So you can you all see what we've got across the screen here? Patricia's number 1, Debbie's number 10.
I think it's different for everybody.
Is it different for everybody? All right, well then you're gonna have to trust me, aren't you? Sorry. Okay, first one is number
Always
1.
number 1 in my book, though.
And number 1 is Patricia. Congratulations, Patricia.
Oh,
all right,
what?
let me do one more. I'll do one more. Don't worry, I'll be giving away a lot of these as the month goes on, I promise. And the next one is number 9, and that is Raina Michelle. All out in California. So congratulations, ladies. You will both be getting a copy of Atomic Habits. And I think we're all gonna be learning a lot from that and talking about it a lot. So thank you all for being on. I'm gonna stop recording, but I'm happy to stay on if anybody has any specific questions or comments and ideas. And I just love seeing all of you so much.